Hi, this is Dr. Stephanie Wautier, and I'm the host of Conversations with a Chiropractor. This is not a health how-to, but rather a conversation with some amazing people I've had the pleasure of being with on my journey of life. Think of it more like Tuesdays with Maury, a fireside chat, or chicken soup for the soul. Grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and enjoy this conversation with a chiropractor. Today on Conversations with a Chiropractor, I am joined by Isabella. She is a 17-year-old senior in high school right here in Marquette, but was born in Korea. So, Isabella, tell me a little bit about what it was like to be growing up in Korea.
It was really nice. Korea, I grew up in a really small town near the ocean. It also had rice fields. It was a really small town, just like Marquette, small, peaceful town with nature.
So, a lot of people probably think Korea and they think like Seoul. How far away from Seoul it was your town growing up?
I'm like 5 hours away driving. Seoul is like north end of South Korea. I'm like the south end of South Korea. So we're like the very ends.
Okay. So your town was right on the ocean.
Yes.
So did you swim in the ocean or surf, or is it too like tumultuous?
It's like muddy. I don't like, not sand, but it was mud based. I would go there to catch crabs and seashells. That was what I did, not swimming.
Okay, very cool. You stayed in Korea for how long? Like how many years until you came to the United States?
I would say 14 years. But even in that 14 years, I moved to Canada, to US, like back and forth. So it's a little bit complicated.
What kind of a job did your dad have that made you move? I assume that's why you moved.
Yes, correct. My dad is a helicopter test pilot. So he would test a lot of helicopters to see if they work fine. He came to Marquette when I was in second grade to see if helicopter works fine in a really cold weather.
Interesting. What a cool job.
I know, it's really dangerous, but he loves his job.
So at age 14, what happened then? So you've been moving around, you've been to Canada and Marquette, and what happens when you're 14?
So 14, that is when I was in third grade of middle school. In Korea, you have middle school 3 years and then high school 3 years. So it was last year of my middle school, and I was like, for high school, I don't want to go to Korean high school. I want to move to the States. I want to study there and see the bigger world, not just stay in Korea and study like other students. So I asked my parents if I could go to States and study by myself. My ultimate goal is going to university here, even maybe get a job.
Wow. And you were accepted and plan on going to the University of Michigan.
Yes.
So I want to go back to what it was like. Like, tell me a little bit about what a school day is like in even like that middle school time. Like, what does a typical day look like?
So Koreans are really known for studying a lot. I've noticed that here also. People ask me if you studied a lot in Korea. So my typical day would look like our school starts 8:30ish in the morning, and then we would have school till like 4 p.m. And then right after, we have a thing called hagwon. It's a private academy. Almost every single Korean students go after school. They go to math hagwon, English hagwon, science hagwon, wherever they want to learn. So I had science hagwon, English hagwon, math hagwon, art hagwon, like everything. So right after school, I would go there, spend hours of extra studying. I would come back home around 9, 10 p.m. And then that's when my homework started, studying started. So it was just packed with studying.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So the hagwon was like an extra tutoring type situation?
Yes, it's an extra tutoring, I would say. And like 99% of students go to hagwon in Korean.
So when are you eating? Like, are you eating during these, like during school, during the hagwon?
That's a really good question. During hagwon, the teachers know that the students didn't eat yet. Then they would give like 10, 15 minutes to go to convenience store, and buy snacks or stuff so that they can eat. Sometimes my mom would pick me up from school and drive me to hagwon. And in that car driving, I would be eating in the car.
Wow.
That's what all students do in Korea.
Oh my gosh, like so intense.
It was intense.
And you get home at like 10 or 11 at night, and then you start studying? Then you start your homework?
Yeah, I would do studying. But the interesting thing is, American high school, I've noticed that they give a lot of assignments and homework. But in Korean school, they know that students go to hagwon and they have more homework from hagwon than school. So the school doesn't assign any homework.
Wow. It's a very philosophical thing, I think, even in the US. Like some teachers and communities have a school of thought like homework is bad. Like kids should just be able to like relax and enjoy and be physical. Tell me about like physical activity. Did you have some sort of like gym class during your regular school?
Yes, regular school, we do have gym class in Korea. We would be just playing dodgeball, baseball, soccer. Yeah, but not a lot of like after school sports, I would say, because students are so into studying.
Wow.
Mhm.
It's interesting. When I was growing up, most of the time, we didn't have all of those like volleyball, baseball, soccer, football until we were in high school. But now kids are starting 5, 6, 7 years old. And I mean, sports are a huge thing. It's like so busy and so much and so intense.
I know. Yeah, it is not like that in Korea. I would do a lot of sport if I was in elementary school, but in middle school, high school, the parents don't like it. The students do not prefer that. They would rather study.
Wow.
Yes.
And this is purely academic. We're not talking about even like music or like any of the other arts, correct?
Correct. Yeah. It was such a big culture difference because when I came to American high school, I've noticed a lot of students do sports, music that they love to do, even though they're not planning to major that in college or have that as their job. But in Korea, if you choose to do sports or music, then you just need to go to that path. You can never come back and do any other stuff.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow. So you have the same number of years of school, like 12 years, but yours is broken up a little bit differently in Korea.
correct.
So what is Korean college like? What is the typical trajectory? So you spend all these years in your middle school and high school, like basically purely academic, like almost 24 hours a day, eating, sleeping, breathing.
Yes.
Then what is the goal? Like what are the colleges that a Korean child would aspire to?
It's so ironic because it's so hard to get into a college in Korea right now. It's getting harder and harder. But as soon as you get in, you drink, just hang out, party. I say not much studying. The main goal that students go to college is to get a job. In Korea, when they hire someone, they just look at which university they went to. And if they didn't even go to a college or university, they don't even hire. So just to make money and get a job, all Korean students just try their best to go to a college.
Mm.
Mhm.
What is the main industry right now? Like, is it technology? What is Korea sort of known for right now? What kinds of jobs are your friends from back home looking to get when they graduate?
Hmm.
And if you don't know the answer, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't think I know that answer.
Because it's interesting, right? Like, I think for the United States, this is my opinion. This is not based on fact, but I feel like you can get into any school, right?
Yes.
Like, whether it's a community college or whether, there's like D3, D2, D1 for sports. We've got the elite schools, we have the not so elite schools. But I feel like anybody could go to school. It's just so much money.
When you talked about like what kind of job they're looking for, I thought about it and I think it's like the really big industries. The Koreans are really obsessed with those big industries like Samsung, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Samsung, LG, like Google, Naver, like they all just want to get a job in a big company.
So Seoul is the capital of Korea,
Yes.
and it's 5 hours from your hometown.
Yes.
Would most of your classmates be headed to like the big city for university, or are there other smaller universities like spread out?
A lot of students try to go to Seoul when you ask a student, hey, what's your goal for college? Then they would all say in Seoul. But it is also really hard to get into a college that is in Seoul. So if you're not that good enough for studying, then you'd be going to small university colleges in little small cities.
Okay. Is there some sort of expectation for a Korean child, student? Like, is there like a really big push for you to like succeed, do well, do well?
In Korea, a big succeed for a student would be going to college in Seoul.
Okay.
That is like their ultimate goal in their 12 years of studying.
Wow.
Yes.
So you chose a very different path
I did.
to come and live in the United States,
I did.
which I think is very brave because you're living with a host family who your family knew, but you don't have your mom to, come and cry on her shoulder, and I mean, I just think that takes a lot of like strength and resiliency, and it was your idea.
And my parents actually said no when I first mentioned it.
Really?
Yeah, like who would send their daughter to a foreign country alone,
Yes.
So,
Yeah. But you've done so much with your flute. So you're a very talented flautist.
yes.
Yes. And that was probably something that wouldn't have happened had you stayed in Korea.
I was in like a small orchestra, school orchestra in Korea. That's when I played flute. And I think that was like the only activity that I did in school. And that saved me when I came here. I could do a lot of stuff with flute I didn't even know.
Really?
So many opportunities, playing for the chorus, for musical, and being in the pit orchestra. Yeah, I think it was a really nice experience.
Yeah, you've played with the marching band, right? Did you also play with the jazz band?
Yep, I am in jazz band.
You're in jazz band.
I'm in-
Tell us all the things you're doing.
Oh, yeah. So I'm a super band kid. Yeah, I was in marching band, jazz band, pep band. I was in the pit orchestra. I'm in full orchestra. I'm currently playing flute for the chorale, school chorale chorus. Yeah, those are, I think, most of my band stuff. I am also in the environmental club. I'm in HOSA. I'm a member of NHS. Yeah.
Tell our listeners what HOSA is, because I didn't know this, and I'm in the healthcare world.
HOSA is for students who are really interested in medical field. So if you join HOSA, you would be studying the event that you chose. For example, I chose dental terminology, then I will get a textbook for that. I'll be studying. And then at regionals, you'll be competing with other students from other regions. And then if you place like top 7 or something, then you'll be going to states. This year, it was in Traverse City, and you'll be competing with all of the Michigan students there. And if you qualify for that, you go to nationals, internationals. And it's really cool because students can study the field that they're interested in, like CPR, first aid, nurse assisting, like a lot of stuff.
That's really cool. And you have like an internship with one of the local orthodontists, correct?
Correct. I'm taking a class called Health Occupations. And so first semester, I will be studying all the stuff that I should know as a medical assistant. And then second semester, I'll be going into actual clinical rotations. And students can choose the place that they want to do their rotation. So most of my friends are in the hospital, actually. And I'm in the local orthodontics.
I mean, you're like right there living the life of, and so dentistry is what your goal is for your end game.
Yes.
Do you think about orthodontics versus like a classic traditional dentist?
I was first thinking about just being a general dentist, but now I'm doing my rotation in the orthodontics, and I think orthodontics is really nice. I'm actually leaning towards.
It's an intriguing process.
I know. It would be extra studying, but I think it would be worth it. I really like where I am right now.
That's so cool. It's neat to have that experience at this young age, at age 17.
I know, and in Korea, this would never be happening. Like, I love being here because there's so many opportunities and stuff that I can be doing in this young age.
And I know you're not the typical teenager. I know that you're like in that overachieving, like top tier category, but would you say that the thoughts that maybe a Korean would have, this is a generalization,
Mhm.
is that people from the US are like slackers, that we're sort of loose, that we're not like really like studying and academically oriented?
Yes, there is. They
Stereotypes?
sorry. Yes, they are a little bit biased. I would say, yeah, like Americans, blondies, they'll be just doing sports, not study that much. Yeah, there are some stereotypes, I would say.
And I would like think that of course, like when you're raised in Korea and you're literally going to school for like 10 hours, 12 hours a day.
Mhm.
Yeah, our little 8-hour work day doesn't seem like much. And I think that I mean, my experiences are in the Midwest, but I mean, we do really focus on like school spirit and the games, the football games, and the powder puff, and
Mhm.
you have this whole experience with music. But even just like as a student in the student body,
Mhm.
I think that there's a lot of like fun.
I love that part. Like, I would never be experiencing that in Korea if I was in Korean high school. But yes, I totally love all of those stuff here.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Tell me about the difference in food. So we talked about you having to like go to the convenience store between this is in Korea, like between school and your after school programs.
Yes.
What would dinner look like? A family dinner. What would that look like?
Korean family dinner?
Yeah.
Rice. Rice is our staple. And we would have like soup. It could be kimchi soup, seaweed soup, any sort of soup that is really, soothing, I would say. And then you would have a lot of side dishes.
Okay.
My mom would cook fish or like egg rolls. Kimchi would always be on the table, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Now, kimchi, and
Mhm.
pardon my naivete, is like a mixture of like vegetables that are like not pickled, but in a certain kind of a sauce.
It's fermented. So,
Okay.
yeah, normal kimchi would be made from cabbage.
Okay.
And you would ferment that with, I don't even know, but
Yeah.
yeah, like garlic and pepper. And
But your mom would make her own kimchi?
yeah, a lot of Koreans make their own kimchi, but now a lot of people also buy from online. And, we have a lot of side dish stores where they just sell side dishes. But that's now where my mom gets all her side dishes.
No kidding. And being that you're right on the ocean, I'm sure like a lot of seafood.
Oh, yeah, we love seafood. We have fish and everything, almost every meal. Yeah.
So it's not like meatloaf and hamburgers and
No.
hot roasts.
Yeah, but we would sometimes have that also. My mom loves making homemade burgers, so usually make patties and cook that up. We have pasta. We love pasta, chicken. We do have Western food there also.
I know these are like stereotypes and generalizations, and hopefully our listeners know that too. But I think that it's interesting. I don't know if I shared this with you, but when I was like 10 years old, we had an exchange student from Chile.
Okay.
And she was actually my inspiration for wanting to learn Spanish, which I did learn Spanish. I took it for 4 years. And I'm just intrigued by like other cultures and what does their food look like?
Yes.
Like we Yoopers have a pasty, which is, a meat pie. And Tatiana was my exchange student's name. She introduced us to empanadas, which are very similar. It's like a dough and then there's like meat. They actually put like egg and cheese in it versus like the rutabaga and potatoes and stuff. But I think there's so much that we can learn from each other, but there's similarities like woven through.
Yes, totally.
Like maybe kimchi is like our side salad.
Sure. I say kimchi is really similar to German sauerkraut.
Oh, right.
Really similar. So, yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So we've covered food, we've covered like sports and activities.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me socially, what is different? Like with teenagers growing up, what is different between friendships and relationships? Yeah.
More like personality wise. In Korea, you raising up your voice can seem really rude. Like it can be seen good too, but most of the occasions you might be considered rude. During class, when teacher asks a question, nobody holds their hand up. nobody does that. Nobody speaks loudly. Everyone is so polite to adults. I would say they're so sensitive with age. Even if you're 1 years older, you need to be really polite. But here I've noticed that almost every students are an extrovert. They raise their hand, they voice their opinions. So I don't want to say what is good or bad, but I've noticed that it is really different.
That is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It was a long time ago that I was in high school. And when I was growing up, we were trained by my parents to be very polite, to respect elders, sort of like what would seem more culturally like in your realm. We had to answer the phone like Wood as residents, Stephanie speaking. When I was growing up, any adult was Mr. or Mrs. You never spoke unless you were spoken to. Like this was and I don't know if that was so much my family or the time that I was raised, but I mean, I could say how different even the last like 30 years has become for this culture.
Yes.
I think that we do lack a respect for our elders and a reverence for our elders.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, I also like how we're all, friendly to each other. In Korea, we call it 존댓말. So you would like add more words when you speak to adults or elders. You need to be like super, super polite. But I also like how we don't have it here. I could get more close. I feel more close with elders and adults.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're not just like sort of looking at them like as like on a pedestal or from far away or yeah.
Yeah.
What about like dating relationships? Was dating like looked down upon, forbidden? Like, would you not tell your parents if you were dating someone?
In Korean school, some schools prohibit dating. So even if you're so close to each other, if you're holding hands, if there's something going on with a boy or a girl, the teachers would be like, you're in trouble.
Wow.
It is really strict in Korean schools. So students would be dating secretly a lot.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So no like school dances with like boys and girls asking each other.
There aren't any parties in Korea.
Wow. What a difference.
It was a culture shock when I came here, like prom and winter formal. I still remember my first winter formal dance. It was so hectic because I've never put a makeup on. It was my first time trying on a sparkly dress with heels. It was so hot. Yes.
Would there be any events in your life in Korea? Like, are there like balls or is there anything sort of equivalent to like the quinceañera or is there anything like that happens?
In Korea, for seniors, like in middle school, like last year, high school last year, elementary school last year, they would take the whole grade to like a 1 night, 2 day trip, 2 night, 3 day trip, something like that, to Seoul or bigger cities.
Okay.
That's when a lot of students make their memories, like prom. And towards the end of the year, we have like a school festival. So a lot of students will be like going up the stage singing and dancing.
Really?
Yeah, like performing.
Okay, like a talent show?
Yeah, something like a talent show.
Okay.
That's when we get our fun.
Wow. Is there anything like we're coming up to graduation, like graduation parties? Anything like that you would have?
Graduation trip, I would say, as I mentioned, the seniors go on a trip. That's the graduation trip, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So you didn't wear makeup in Korea, or if you were still living in Korea, would you wear makeup every day?
In Korean schools, makeups are prohibited also.
Wow.
I mean, it will be different now. I'm not sure. But most of the schools still, we are required to wear uniforms. I cannot have any jewelries on. No makeup, no dyeing your hair. When my mom was in school, you had like your hair length limits, like 3 centimeters below your ears, then you got to cut it. Something like that. So it was really strict.
Interesting. Like some people would say, wow, you weren't able to express yourself. There was no like self-expression.
A lot of students think like that, and now they're trying to change Like we should be able to express ourselves. We're girls, we gotta put on some makeup,
Yeah.
So I think it's changing little by little.
And this is just a question that came to my mind. So I feel like now in 2026, we're so much more open and welcoming of, different sexual orientations and different identities and genders. And what is that like in Korea? I'll just say as an example, like when I was going to school, I mentioned how strict my parents were and we had to revere our elders. If you were gay, you were discriminated against.
Yes.
And I feel like now people are very welcoming, like LGBTQ. I think that just in the United States culture, everyone is more like loving and accepting of those, quote unquote differences.
Yeah.
So if in Korea, you're not allowed to like date or have makeup on, or this is just an assumption. I don't know it to be true, but I would assume that you wouldn't be able to express yourself if you were attracted to the same sex or.
Yes. Yeah, I've noticed that in the States, it's really open with a lot of those topics. In Korea, we are changing, but still a lot of people are conservative about it. I've never seen or had a gay or lesbian friend in Korea yet. While in States, I have so many friends like that. So I would say it's really different.
Interesting. Now, K-pop is huge.
Yes. Of course.
And like so it's so interesting because there's so many, people here in the US that are just crazy obsessed. Tell us a little bit about that music scene.
Music scene.
K-pop.
K-pop. Yeah, I'm not a super K-pop person now.
Okay.
I used to listen to it because in Korea, if you play music in the public or like wherever, if you go into a restaurant, everything they play is K-pop. And actually, when I first came here in second grade, nobody knew where South Korea was. Like when I said, "Oh, I'm from Korea," they were like, "Oh, is that like near China? Is it near Japan?" But I think K-pop changed that a lot. Now everyone knows when I say, "Hey, I'm from Korea," they're like, "Oh, I love K-dramas. I love K-pop, like K-culture, K-food." So yeah, I like how K-pop especially is spreading all of our culture.
It's worldwide.
It's so just cool to see. Like 10 years ago, nobody knew where Korea was. Now they just know where I'm from and they love Korea. So
It's so interesting. Now, I always say that I'm not political and I never want to bring political things up, but North and South Korea are technically still at war, correct?
Correct.
Like for 70 years.
Correct.
So day to day, do you feel that intensity? Like in Korea, do you feel that struggle?
Not really. I've seen some people think Korea is a really dangerous country because they're still in war, technically. But I've never felt that threat or anything. I would see North Korean issues in Korean news, but not much. And the only thing I would say is, I don't know, all of the boys going to military. Like it's required to join the army when you're 20 or 21. So I would say that's the biggest thing.
So no matter what, you're a 20-year-old boy and it's not even that you would we would in the United States, we would call it being drafted. That's just every single boy.
Just every single average man, boy, they gotta go a year and a half training and everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's just say you have a brother. Let's just pretend you have an older brother who is at university in Seoul. What happens when he turns 20? He has to stop his studies?
Yeah, he would take like a gap year, I would say, and then go to the military and then come back. That's what every single boy in Korea do.
Wow. So interesting, so different.
Yes.
I know that we talked a little bit about if someone sees an Asian woman, perhaps they don't know the difference between whether you were born in Korea or the Philippines or Taiwan. Does that bother you?
A little bit, but I wouldn't say much. I don't really mind sharing my ethnicity, nationality. Actually, when I was working this morning, another person that I was a table that I was serving, they asked me where I was from. They're trying to guess. And yeah, I think I get that question like at least once per day.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it doesn't bother
It
you.
doesn't really bother me. I'm not offended or anything.
Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, for our listeners, Isabella is gorgeous.
Aw.
She's stunningly beautiful. So I wonder if some of these men are just wanting to know, like, trying to hit on you.
No, I've never had a boyfriend before. Yeah, no, not really.
People are missing out. That's all I have to say.
That's so kind of you to say.
It's the truth. Yeah, I think it's just so interesting. Even like for talking to like my kids
Mhm.
who are born in the United States and who have grown up here, like even before my time, like if we were like in the 1950s and 60s and listening to that era of music, it's the bubblegum pop. And it was like the only thing that a boy or a girl wanted
Mhm.
was to get together,
Yes. Yes.
to have a boyfriend, to have a girlfriend. It's just so different in this culture.
Mhm.
Friendships are so strong, girl tribes are so strong, which I think is wonderful that someone isn't just trying to find a partner, but it's unique.
Yes.
It's different.
My host dad keeps mentioning this since prom is coming up. He keeps asking, are you really not going with a date? Because when I was back in school, I used to go to prom or dances with a girl, even though we don't have anything like going on between us.
Okay.
But I prefer going with my friends, I guess. I don't really talk to boys at school, So,
It's just so different. Just so different.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you are getting ready in the fall to be going to University of Michigan.
Yes.
And you'll be like pre-dental or like biology major.
I'll be majoring biology, hopefully pre-dental track, but I'm not sure. I just want to find out what I actually truly want to do after I go to college.
Yeah. And we talked about this once before. When you are getting ready for your 21st birthday, you have a really hard decision to make.
Yes, choosing my nationality.
Yes. And I mean, you have many years until then, but it must feel a little different because you are Korean living in America.
Yes.
And so you have all of those, like the history and the cultural ties, and your folks, your parents and sibling are back in Korea.
I know it is a really hard decision to make. I think it depends on how well I do in college, I would say. Right now, I'm leaning towards US since I go to school here now. I'm going to university. Even though my family are in Korea, I think I will still choose America for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any chance that your parents would ever move back here?
They are considering, they've been always talking, oh, I wish I could move to America. My mom also does this thing called SMPE. It's similar to yoga. She's an instructor. She's certified. And she really wants to teach people here in the States. And my dad can speak English, so he thinks it will be not a problem to moving to the States.
Yeah, with his experience of being a helicopter pilot.
Oh, yeah. And my parents also really want my younger brother to come to States just like me to study or go to college here, since they think experiencing the bigger world is really good for us. Yeah.
You've paved the way. You've shown them that it can be done. And I'm always astounded. So you're beyond a 4.0, right? I mean, of course, you're being shy, but with AP classes and a very, very heavy, like academic load, and you named all of the extracurriculars with music and your flute, and you also hold down a job.
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of funny because we talked about the very intense Korean schedule, but your United States schedule is pretty intense too.
I know, it's so funny. Whenever I call my mom in Korea, we always talk, oh my gosh, Isabella, if you were in Korea right now, you'd be just busy studying all day like that. You'd be so, so busy. And I thought, this is what my mom said. I thought when you go to States, you'd be so chill because I heard that school is so easy. You won't be doing a lot of stuff, but I feel like you're so busy there. You have your job, homework, assignments, school and activities.
All of these extracurriculars.
I never knew I'd be this busy.
Wow. But are you enjoying it?
I love it. I would rather do this than studying all day.
Yeah, because it's so many different things that you're having the experiences of doing.
Yeah, I'm just experiencing so much. Like in Korea, no one gets a job, like a part-time job as a student because the parents think it's so important to study, then have a job.
Mm.
You don't need to be making money as a high schooler. But here I'm making money, I'm meeting a lot of people, I'm serving in a local restaurant, and I love this. I'm just having so much fun.
I think a restaurant job is so valuable for everyone because it teaches you how to interact with other people. It teaches you time management. I had a restaurant job too growing up, and I feel like it really prepared me so well just for being successful.
Yeah, I can definitely say my English got way better after I got my job.
No kidding.
Yes.
That's an interesting thing I wouldn't have thought about.
Just because I need to socialize with people every single day, like ask, how was your day? I'll be taking care of you today. Like, how's the food? And yeah, my English got way better.
So do you find that you're not speaking Korean every day, or are you speaking Korean with your host family?
Yes.
Okay. So you are speaking Korean every day. Okay.
Yeah.
At one point in my life, I was fluent in Spanish, and now I couldn't even probably form a sentence. But you know, having been born and raised in Korea, I'm sure that is like your brain, like all that language stuff when you were younger.
My mother language is Korean. I think in Korean, I dream in Korean. But since I've been living in States for 3 years, the main language that I'm using right now is English. I think English is also like getting really comfortable.
Do all Korean students learn English, or is it an optional second language?
It is required, I would say. Even starting kindergarten, they start teaching alphabets and everything. In school, it's a curriculum like Spanish here, but it's I guess 12-year curriculum. You need to study English. Yeah, but it's really different because they're so grammar focused.
Okay.
So a lot of my friends who got better grades in English exam than I did in Korea, they can't form a single sentence when speaking because they learned so much grammar, not actual speaking.
And I've heard that the English language doesn't make sense. There are so many rules that don't make sense.
Yes, the rules are really different compared to Korean, so they struggle more, I would say.
Isabella, what would you want our listeners to know about Korea, about you, about your experience here?
So it was a big decision that to come to States alone to study as a 14, 15-year-old girl. And I was really nervous, but I was also excited. And first year I struggled with English, making friends, just getting used to this culture, but now I love it. I have so many friends. I love my job. I'm now going to university here. And I think I've grown a lot. I think I'm more mature than I was. And I think a lot of people should make a brave decision, even though they're skeptical. Oh, I don't know if I can do that well. I think they should at least try. One of my teachers here in Marquette kept telling me my first year when I came here, step out of your comfort zone. Even though it makes you uncomfortable, you got to do it. And I think that really helps you a lot. So I hope a lot of people know that and try everything even before they give up.
That's amazing advice.
Yeah.
I do think that so many people allow fear to prevent them from doing something. And at 14 or 15 years old, for you to leave your family, your home, your country, I mean, that's like bravery to the 1000th degree. I mean, there are children, kids, teenagers who are going to even have trouble going 5 or 6 hours or 8 hours away to college. I'm sure you've grown exponentially. I'm sure you've become so independent and so much of who you are.
Yes, it was the best decision that I've made in my life. Even though I lived only for 17 years. Yes.
But a super, super brave decision. I know I wish there was a better word, but just to be so strong. And I mean, I'm sure that first year was really difficult. learning all the nuances of this culture and having all these teenagers. Probably it sounded like they were screaming, every day.
Yes.
And like a literal culture shock.
A lot of culture shock, and I think I changed a lot. Like looking back 3 years ago when I first came here, I was such a shy, timid girl. Wearing glasses, just a total nerd. And now, I've really changed a lot. That's all I can say.
Well, I'm so glad that you were open to discussing all of this stuff. And
I was so happy to.
I think that this is going to be a really good podcast for our listeners, because I think probably every single person needs that advice to get out of your comfort zone, do something that makes you afraid, because it will grow you. You will be better. There's very little that can happen if you don't ever push yourself or challenge yourself. So bravo, Isabella.
Thank you so much.
And as we close this podcast, why don't you tell everyone what your Korean-born name is?
My Korean name is Kim Jimin.
Beautiful. So you just felt like Isabella was easier, so people in this,
It's easier to pronounce, I would say. Yeah, Jimin, a lot of people will forget. So Isabella, easier.
That's a beautiful name. You're a beautiful human.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on my podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for listening. If you've enjoyed this podcast, would you please rate it, review it, like, or subscribe? You can find me on social media at wautierwellness.com, Dr. Stephanie Wautier on Instagram, or Wautier Wellness Chiropractic and Massage on Facebook. And I'm so curious where your next conversation will take you.
When Mother's Day means celebrating your mom, your wife, maybe even your daughter as a new mom, trust 1-800-Flowers to help you celebrate every important woman in your life. With double blooms from 1-800-Flowers, order 1 dozen roses and get another dozen for free. It's a simple way to give beautifully, with colorful blooms that make Mother's Day feel meaningful. For every mom you're celebrating, order with confidence and get double blooms at 1-800-Flowers.com/podcast. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/podcast.
I'm Serena Williams, and I'm healthier on Ro. I've lost 34 pounds in a year with GLP-1s, diet, and exercise. On Ro, you can access GLP-1 options, including the first FDA-approved GLP-1 pill for weight loss. Go to ro.co/journey to see if you qualify. 14 to 20% average weight loss in 1 year in non-diabetics with obesity or overweight with a weight-related medical condition versus 2.2% to 3.1% in placebo arm. RX only. To stay informed about serious side effects, go to ro.co/safety.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.